welcome to Niner Chatter. This is Tuesday night. This is our usual night that we like to do this on. Welcome back again. We're now 2 weeks into the preseason, heading into preseason week number 3. Niners will be taking on the Raiders on Sunday afternoon. 49ers are kind of getting back into a normal regular season mode this week. But before we get there, thought it'd be fun to come on and talk a little bit about the game from last weekend against the Chargers, and just kind of see what else is floating around with the Niner faithful. So, there's lots of different things that we can talk about. There's obviously the quarterback situation, Trey Lance, Jimmy Garoppolo. Lance is definitely making a push. He had a really good game on Sunday. Garoppolo, kind of did what he usually does. He dinking and dunking the ball down the field. One of the topics, one of the things that I've heard a lot when it comes to this quarterback situation is that you've got to go with Garoppolo because Lance isn't ready. Watch Lance play. He's not accurate enough. He's a little wild with the football at times and things like that. But then you watch these guys play and you see Jimmy Garoppolo make throw that interception that looked almost like the same thing that you saw Trey Lance do. So I don't think there's a whole lot of separation between these two. Steve Young came out. You saw the interview on ESPN probably a day ago where he's talking about if these guys are in a similar position that you go with the rookie. You let them come in, you let them develop and continue to kind of work on the job with the understanding that they're going to struggle a little bit, but that's going to pay off in the long run. And I definitely agree with that. That's of my thinking as well. That's definitely the way that I feel this whole thing should play out as well. So definitely something to discuss tonight is, do you think that it should be Trey Lance? Do you think it should be Jimmy Garoppolo? If so, if it should be Garoppolo, why? If you think it should be Trey Lance, why? There's a lot of other things that we can get into, but we'll kind of start off there. Another topic that I liked was looking at the rookies and seeing who's really improved. And I thought that Jalen Moore showed probably the most improvement of the non-quarterbacks, getting away from that discussion. From week 1 to week 2 of the preseason, he had a tremendous game. I wouldn't say tremendous, but he had a very good game at left tackle. Did really good in pass protection. I think there's 33 pass snaps that he was in for. Didn't give up a pressure, no sacks or anything like that. So he played very well. His only hiccup was in the run game. He missed that down block, and poor Wayne Gallman got his head taken off. So, but other than that, he had a really good and solid game. For a guy that's playing a tough position over there at left tackle, and only a second preseason game, and he was a 5th-round draft pick too. So it's not like it's a guy that you took in round 1 and expect to get the job done. So there's a couple of topics there. You have Talanoa Hufanga, who played really well as well. Same with Deommodore Lenoir. The entire 49ers secondary was all 3 of their draft picks from 2021 started this week, and I thought they held their own. So let's go ahead and get into it. We have somebody that's on the line here already, so instead of just hearing me ramble on, it's always better to hear from you guys anyway. That's really what I like to do with this show. So we'll start off with Korean 49er. How you doing?
I'm good, Jack. How are you?
I'm good. I'm really good.
So, we should find you a T-shirt that has a jackhammer on the front just for you.
There you go. I need to come up with something like that, or have something, maybe having it behind me or something, right?
Yeah, I think Coach Johnson is working with Grant on something. So, but a couple topics for you. I did see improved play from Jalen Moore in the game. Outside of that one whiff in that run play, he looked very serviceable. I believe if he came in, played in a regular season game, if someone got hurt for a game, I don't believe the drop off would be that dramatic.
No, I think that I agree with you on that. I don't think it'd be that dramatic either. I think he played pretty well, really. When you go back and you watch the first game, for the most part, he held his own even in that game. Because the one sack was a situation where he just got beat off the ball, and the whole offensive line was a tick slow for whatever reason on the snap count on that one. But other than that, he had played pretty well in that first game too, and it's good to see that improvement, though, especially out of a guy that's a rookie like that, and in a position where it looks like the 49ers are going to be pretty young in terms of the backups.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Do you see if Jalen Moore keeps progressing and improving? Do you see him as potentially being the future right tackle over McGlinchey, or is that something we can't project?
I don't think he'd be the starting right tackle over McGlinchey. I think McGlinchey's a guy who the 49ers really like, and from everything that we've seen so far, I know we're early on. In the first 2 games, he's held his own and done pretty well. It'll be interesting to see what happens when the season starts with him, but so far so good. I think he's more projected as a guard, probably as like your left guard or your right guard, depending on what happens to Aaron Banks, because Banks is a guy who, he got hurt in that first game, wasn't looking all that good even up to that point, was really struggling with his pass protection. So I think that's more of the where you can look for him, especially with Laken Tomlinson not being under contract for next year.
Yeah, I could see that. I definitely see that. Going back to everyone's favorite topic, the quarterback competition. Mm-hmm. I do agree with Joe Montana and Steve Young. If the rookie is anywhere remotely close to Jimmy as of starting.
I lost you there for a second. You were saying that he should be starting.
I'm not sure what happened there. Yeah, I believe he should be starting because if you don't start Trey, then his rookie contract, his clock is already starting, and you're using up that valuable amount of contract where he's inexpensive. And I believe we already know what we're getting from Jimmy. I don't see him being vintage Tom Brady in the next week in the last preseason game. If he somehow does it, I'll be impressed and that'll be great. But I don't see that happening.
Yeah, no, I don't see Jimmy Garoppolo being Tom Brady either, obviously. But Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be on the 49ers in 2021, and he's going to most likely, almost for sure, be on the 49ers at $26.4 million. The whole thought process of getting Jimmy Garoppolo to reduce his contract was around them having somebody that could step in where they could pressure him and say, you know what, we really like Josh Rosen. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to run with Trey, and we're going to let Josh be the backup. So you can either take this pay cut of, down to $10 million or $5 million or whatever this number is, or we can go ahead and just trade you, release you, or what have you. But, we saw Rosen, he flamed out. Nate Sudfeld hasn't been really any better. He's about the same as what Rosen was, but for whatever reason, they liked him a little bit more. So I don't see the 49ers being willing to move on from Jimmy Garoppolo in 2021. Not after what we've seen since 2018. 2018 was a lost season due to the quarterback injury. 2020 was a lost season due to the quarterback injury. Obviously Garoppolo was healthy throughout 2019, so that was fine. But they've said all along that they don't want to deal with that again, and I kind of believe them on that. So I don't foresee the 49ers moving on from Garoppolo. Garoppolo holds all the cards here. He doesn't have to approve a trade, and he doesn't have to reduce his contract. And there's really nowhere that they can go with that money at this point, because all those guys that you would probably want to have used it on have signed with other teams. So I think it's
I'm coming around to that realization. To me, I thought when they traded up to number 3, and then it became Trey Lance, that was the time to let Jimmy go, just because I thought the writing was kind of on the wall at that time, because I didn't see the trade value with Jimmy, as Bay Area Baller has said, and to me that's just coming around more and more now.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I just they need to have somebody there that's going to be a quarterback that can be a backup and have that, whatever you want to say about Garoppolo, he's a decent quarterback. He's not a garbage quarterback or anything like that by any stretch of the imagination. He can win in the NFL. He's a good quarterback for that. I think, and I mentioned this a few minutes ago on the show that I did with Grant, was, I watched the game last night, and what struck me was, you had C.J. Beathard out there running as the third-team quarterback on the Jacksonville Jaguars, and you have Nick Mullins is the third string quarterback on the Philadelphia Eagles. How bad has this quarterback room been over the last 4 years? You have two guys that are third string quarterbacks, and those were your guys that were your backups, and that's not too good. And then I think you have Garoppolo, who is probably a mid-level starter that can definitely be a good backup. So that's an issue that I think they want to get away from, and I think Garoppolo is going to start week 1. If you were asking me to put money on who's going to be the starter week 1, it's going to be Garoppolo. I just find it hard to believe that he'll be the starter throughout the entire season, playing at the level he's played so far.
Yeah, I see that too. My thing is, I just don't believe in bridge quarterbacks in the NFL, because who was a bridge quarterback for when Ben Roethlisberger took over in Pittsburgh, and Russell Wilson was supposed to be sitting when Matt Flynn was to be the heir apparent to be the starting quarterback there in Seattle. So I just have never believed in the bridge quarterback situation at any point in the NFL.
Sure, and even in the Roethlisberger situation, Roethlisberger didn't start till week 3. It was Tommy Maddox, I think it was. I don't know. I'd have to go back.
I think that sounds right.
It might have been Maddox who started that. He started week 1. The other quarterback he started week 1, started week 2, and then I think might have either got injured or they were just losing so bad that they threw Roethlisberger out there, and he played pretty well, and then he started pretty much the rest of the way, and through the playoffs. So I think that's probably what we're going to see, something along those lines with Garoppolo and Lance here. The difference being week 1 and week 2 are games that the 49ers should win. So if they're able to pull those 2 games off, I don't see them maybe making a switch until a little bit further down the road when Garoppolo decides to start struggling.
Yeah, I also see that if Jimmy is struggling mightily or making mistake after mistake against Detroit, I see a short hook. The fans have been wanting a short hook and pulling Jimmy on, putting Trey in, because I don't think we would, if they don't win that first game of this, at least the first game, I think there's going to be a lot of pointed questions at Kyle for what is he doing? Or
yeah, if they go into that game against Detroit and they're struggling and they're behind maybe in the second half or something like that, then yeah, I could see him making a move and throwing Lance out there just to kind of see if creates a spark, right? That's what you hear a lot. And I've said this all along, when you decide to make that move from Garoppolo to Lance, you need to be ready to stick with it for the rest of the year. You can't go back and forth with this, especially with a guy that you expect to be your franchise quarterback for the next, at least for the next 4 years, right? You can't put him in there and then pull him out. That just because of what it does to the team and the belief in him from his teammates. You need to feel like he can be a guy you're going to stick in there and he's going to play for the long term.
Agreed. Unless Trey somehow got injured if he's in the game and gets injured, that's a different story, and we can cross that bridge when we come to it. But
right. If he gets hurt, that's a different story. But I'm just saying, in terms of, you can't put him in there and then just pull him out because he doesn't play good. You need to put him in there and know that you're going to suffer through some growing pains with him.
Yeah, I agree with that. And one last point before let you go on to the next caller. Mm-hmm. I always had a suspicion in my mind that whenever they drafted a backup quarterback for Tom Brady, I was amazed they were able to flip them for assets like Matt Castle and Jimmy, and then in the end they still ended up being more backup types instead of a capable starting quarterback for at least a short amount of time. To me, I was always kind of suspicious about that, just because they were able to flip them for an asset. Who knew how they would end up turning out?
Yeah, it's kind of funny the way that whole thing played out, right? Because Garoppolo came in here and he played so well at the beginning, only to falter and struggle here as he's gone along. And so much of his issues have been because of injury and what have you. And that's really, I think the injuries have they've hurt the 49ers in terms of wins and losses, and I think it's been part of what's stunted his development as well. Why we're not seeing the growth out of him that you would expect.
Yep, I would agree with that. So hopefully, in the final preseason game, if Trey goes 10 for 14, has a touchdown, and doesn't make those kind of mistakes that Jimmy's been making, I could see him potentially getting the week 1 start just because if Jimmy does what he normally does, I don't think the fans would have much patience for that.
Yeah. Well, and we'll move on after this when I give you the answer here. But I think the deal with that is, the 49ers catch a break because they're playing those first 2 games on the road, so they're not going to really have that fan base screaming down their throat kind of thing like they would have if that was happening at Levi Stadium. Having those games on the road kind of alleviates some of that. But and I think that Shanahan wants to have Lance's first start be at home. And myself, I'd kind of like to see that too. So, but that's a little bit selfish reasons on my part. Just I'd like to be there for it. So we'll see what happens. Definitely a lot of things to look for on that quarterback front. And if we were betting on this, though, I would say that Garoppolo is your starter week 1, and then Lance takes over at some point in the season if Garoppolo continues to struggle.
Yeah, I kind of see that too. So I appreciate you taking my call, Jack. Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks. You have a great night.
Yeah, you too.
All right. No, that's a great call. Kareem Niner is always one of the guys that he's always waiting for me in the chat room. So I always appreciate him jumping on. He's done that every week. And we're going to go over now to probably the biggest Jimmy Garoppolo fan that I can think of. No, I'm just kidding. How's it going, my man?
Yeah.
How's it going, Jeremy?
I'm rolling with Jimmy, baby. I'm rolling with Jimmy. And shout out to Korean 49er. E. Kim, as always. He can give you a run for your money. I swear I wish I went to school and did the whole debate team thing. Oh, man, we can go and go and go. That guy can go forever. Valid points. But let's get straight into it. And I don't want to stay on the Jimmy topic because there's more than enough of that going around.
What do you got?
I just feel like what I'm starting to see now is, how it's just like a novelty, right? I just need something new. Yeah, Jimmy's all right. Jim, yeah, he took us to a Super Bowl, but I just need something new. And the kid, he has this big arm. The kid is great. Let's try him. It's like, going always what you and I are always talking about. You know me, how I feel. I don't care about the shiny stuff, man. I don't care about the big arm. I don't care. There's plenty of quarterbacks in the league that have big arm, big talents, and they still lose. It's not a guarantee when you put the kid in there because he has all these talents. It's not a guarantee that everything will mesh well. It's not a guarantee. Just like with Jimmy, it's not a guarantee he'll have a great season. Mm-hmm. So let football happen, right? And I feel like, again, we're jumping. We're just pump the brakes and we'll find out. Give them 2 games, right? First game, you better win, Jimmy. Listen, man. Hey, there's the ACL, ankle, no more of that. All right. Yeah. I saw it. So that's why I keep saying, but did you see Jimmy run? Did you see that run? I'm asking everybody, did you see that run? Because now we know you're 100, bro. There's no excuse now. There's no, my line sucked. No. Get out there and to hell with proving the haters wrong. Prove your lovers right.
Oh, man. Right, hey, Jimmy G showed some wheels on that scramble. Come on now. That was probably the best scramble we've seen out of him since like 2018 when he was scrambling against the Chiefs on the left sidelines.
Yeah,
exactly. Right before he got hit along the sidelines, hurt himself. But
yes.
But, yeah,
I feel it, man. God, Jack, I'm just so excited for this football. Jack, I'm just so excited for this football.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a good season. The one thing that I will say where you can kind of pump the brakes maybe on a little bit of the Trey Lance excitement is that he hasn't really done it yet against the ones. He's played a little bit with the ones, and he hasn't really shown out against the ones. His big plays have all come when he's been playing against the twos, for the most part.
Other college players, technically, right? These kids are all coming out of college is just as well as he is.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep. So we'll see. I mean, that's probably about the big only thing that you can say as a negative to him, because otherwise, I mean, they're both making the same mistakes, and that's the hard part about it. Garoppolo's not, his inaccuracies are a problem, but then you've also got, Lance doing the same thing. And I think if Lance hasn't taken he's had the door open, but he hasn't stepped through and taken it.
Yeah, true. And you know what it reminds you? All right, so do you remember the movie Gladiator?
I didn't see Gladiator.
Oh, Russell Crowe, you know. Oh, okay.
Are you not entertained? I know that part of it. But.
Right. So he goes in, and it's the slave, the gladiator owner, and he's talking to the gladiator, and he's like, I don't know what I got to do. He goes, if you win the crowd, they can't just kill you. If you win the crowd, you have to win the crowd, and the emperor cannot just kill you. He'll have to face you. He can't just kill you. So that's how I feel about like the sports world, right? And I feel like you and Grant are so influential, dude. Hey, and I've been trying to attack Grant on it. I'm like, do you know that? Correction today. I thought it was a $40 bottle. It's a $50 bottle. Do you know how expensive that $50 bottle is actually? Do you understand? Do you understand how? I know you're not unaware. I know you're aware of yourself as well as Grant is, right? You know how influential you are. You know what I mean? And if you can talk half of the fan base into rushing this kid in, you know what I mean? They're gonna do it. Like, popular, backed by popular demand. The fan base want Trey Lance, so it's like, and so we rush the kid in, and there you go. You broke our new fancy shiny toy. All the kids couldn't wait. You just get him in there. I don't care if he's not ready. We're tired of Jimmy. I'm like, all right. Damn it.
These guys aren't entertained, Jeremy. I'm entertained. I'm with you. I'm with you on this. I'm with you. I like it. I get what you're saying. I mean, I think, let me take your analogy a little bit as far as, you can't, if you win over the crowd, they can't kill you. I think that's part of what's playing in Jimmy Garoppolo's favor right now. And what I mean by that is the crowd for Garoppolo is the locker room. And right now I don't think that Lance has won over that part of the locker room, which is why I think he needs to come out and he needs to blow it out. He needs to come out and just show it.
He has to ball, bro. He is in. When I say Jack and Grant lit the biggest fire under Jimmy G's ass this year, I mean that. You guys lit it. I'm not saying Kyle. It's you and Grant. I'm giving all credit to you and Grant, dude. You can spin this however you want, but I know the narrative. You guys lit the biggest. It's here and now, right now. There's no more next year, maybe. No. Game 1, game 2. What are you going to do, Jimmy? You got to ball. Because if he doesn't ball.
So what I hear you saying is that if Garoppolo plays well in the first week 1 or week 2, I can take all the credit?
Absolutely.
Let's go, Jimmy.
Absolutely.
Let's go, Jimmy.
Yes. Yes. You are responsible. Because it's like, I was talking to this one guy, right? And I go, did you see that run? He's like, it didn't look that good. I'm like,
come on, Jeremy. It was a 10-yard run. It's not. I mean, it was a good run by Jimmy G standards, but come on.
Right. But this guy's telling me like that was a weak run. I'm like, you can't be that influenced. No. That was the best run I've ever seen Jimmy run. I've never seen this statue run. You know what I mean? Yeah. He never ran like that, especially in 2019. I think he had like 2 really good runs in 2019 where he kind of ran for his life. But that run, I didn't feel like he actually ran for his life. I felt like he was trying to showcase his confidence in that knee. And I don't know if you remember on you and Grant's show just however many minutes ago. My question was Jimmy confident in 2019 on that ACL?
It didn't seem like he was.
And it didn't. And I agree. And you guys' answers was no, he was not confident. So now he was not confident. Excuse me. So now we got a confident Jimmy. I expect more from Jimmy than 2019 this year. If you can't give me that in game 1 and game 2, you got to bring the kid in.
There you go. I like that.
You know what I mean?
And I think that's kind of the way the direction that this thing is trending. You play him the first couple of weeks, you see what he can do. If he's not playing to where the level you want, you've probably got Lance in the game a little bit in those first 2 games to give him some snaps in a regular season game, and then you go ahead and you pull it. And I think the 49ers want it to be so that when Lance makes his first start, he's making it at Levi's. So I can see that. I can see that. That's a solid take for a Jimmy guy.
Now, what if he does ball game 1, game 2? He balls as he has performances like he had against the Arizona Cardinals and the Saints. He plays.
Then you just keep running with him,
right?
I think
Game 3, he loses to Aaron Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
How do you say in a close match? Because I feel like all the pro Lance will be like, "Oh no, you lost."
Right. No, but I don't think that's the way it's going to work out. I think he's going to have to play bad, and he's going to have to lose a game against those. If he loses against the Lions or the Eagles, that's different. You're going to get those calls, obviously, from Waruna and Pinor and the folks that are in our chat session, Ryan, Swan Song, probably me. You're going to get those calls, right? Of get Lance in the game, get him out. But I don't necessarily. I think that Shanahan's playing the long game here, and he's going to be a little bit slower to pull than just one bad performance. I think it's going to take against a good team, which Green Bay would be considered a good team.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, so now we're done with Jimmy. Done.
All right.
Everybody knows how I feel about that. We're done with it. My next question is Hurd.
Okay, what about him?
Does he play this week?
That was the plan, right? That was the plan. That's what Kyle Shanahan said last week, was that they were giving him the week off leading up to the Chargers game, and that the plan was to roll him back into things starting this week. Tomorrow's the first practice for the week. They're doing this week like a normal regular season week where they don't practice until Wednesday. So they'll practice Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then off. Whatever they do Saturday, media can't be there Saturday, and then they play on Sunday. So I think you're going to see Jalen Hurd on the field. The problem with Hurd is, you can't. Yeah, just the consistently being healthy, right? Yeah. He just can't stay healthy, stay on the field. He had a really good practice. The last time I think he was on the practice field was the practice right before the Chiefs game, and he hasn't been on the practice field since. So, what are you going to do with you can't do that. You can't have that guy eating up a spot on your roster. So we'll see what happens unless they feel really good about him, because we know they like him, but it's just that's a tough situation.
I think that honestly, I know I'm a wishful thinker. I think that week off should be more than enough, man. Let the kid play.
Yeah.
We haven't seen you in 2 years. Come on.
No, he's supposed to be out there. That's the plan. So we'll see. I mean, I'll be there tomorrow and Thursday for practice. So you'll be getting reports to find out, if he was out there and actually what he was doing. So keep it locked on my channel and on Grant's, and you'll hear what he's been doing.
Always do. I'm following you. I'm following you into the fire, baby. Last but not least, let's talk about you. How you like this? How have you been liking the training camp and being super involved now?
Oh, it's been fantastic. I mean, it's a grind, but I wouldn't even say it's a grind. It's just a lot of work, but it's fun work, right? It's a good time, and it was great having the training camp, the first few weeks of training camp, and then that was a really cool experience. You can't really beat going into the press box for the first time. That was amazing. Yeah. But as crazy as this might sound, the first time where I really felt like I was behind the scenes, so to speak, was last week when I got to go up for training camp practice last week, because at that point there was no fans there anymore. It was just the team. And so that was the first time where you didn't have the guys from, other 49er online publications able to be there. And so that was really, that was the first time. And so that was really interesting, and that's what I'm looking forward. Yeah. So no, but it's an amazing experience, and having grown up around the game for so long. It's crazy. And like I told my girlfriend, and I've told my sister and some other people, I always grew up wanting to be in the NFL. I wasn't tall enough to be in the NFL at 5'10". I wasn't able to make it there as a coach, but I found a different route to get. I'm writing about the NFL, and I'm right there with the players and the coaches on a daily basis. So.
You're still in the NFL, baby. You made it.
yeah, exactly. Not any way, shape, or form the way that I thought I was going to or planned, but things work out in crazy ways. And
yes, sir.
If I was going to tell anybody any advice about anything, I would just say if there's something that you really want to do, you just keep taking those steps every day and don't let people.
Amen.
So.
Amen. I love that, man. Well, that's all I have, man. It was good seeing you. I know I haven't seen you in so long, man.
It's been a little while.
Once I saw you, I was like, "Oh, I'm on. I gotta go talk to the big dog, man."
There you go.
I'm very proud, very happy to see you, man. And
Thank you.
Go Niners.
Go Niners. Thank you for the support.
Yes,
That's
sir.
Right. Thanks, Jeremy.
You
have a good one. Brother. All right. Real quick before we move on, we got Michael Miller's up next. We got Ryan Swansong. We got the big dog Waruna over there, and then a couple other ones. But I didn't ask Jeremy this question because I wanted to take this one myself. Because was it Jack and Grant that traded the 3 picks to get Trey Waruna? You know what? I think that it's Grant's fault and my fault that they did that, because we're the ones that kept showing you guys those film breakdowns throughout the offseason, telling you how good Trey Lance was. At least I did. I know I kept going on and on after Grant, and I moved on to some other quarterbacks. But I take full responsibility. So if Trey Lance does well, I take full responsibility for him. If it's Jimmy Garoppolo, I take full responsibility for lighting a fire under him. So I'm good either way, right? Let me see here. I know I missed one here. Double B Studio says Jimmy's services may be needed here. Other teams' backups are looking really good around the league. I don't think services are needed, and his value isn't looking good enough for picks. Also, good stuff, Jack. Keep it up. I think that the Garoppolo is going to be the backup. They've been talking all offseason about wanting, the problems that they had in 18, 19, and 20 as far as not having a good enough backup to handle that. And I understand the frustration around Garoppolo being the fact that he's got a cap hit of $26.4 million this year. But the 49ers did that you could have thought of when you went into this offseason, myself included, said get rid of the guy because then you can use that money to do other things. But the 49ers did them anyway. They went out and they got, they got Trent Williams re-signed. They got Fred Warner's deal done. They were able to bring back all their guys. They brought in a couple of, Alex Mack to play center and Samson Ebukam to rush the passer. So when you look at it, I don't know if you can really say that they really lost out on anything by keeping him. Like it hindered them from bringing anything back. They have some maybe a couple of contracts that are a little wonky in terms of what they're going to be down the road. But for the most part, I think you have to be pretty happy with it, with the roster and the team that the 49ers have assembled for 2021. And there might be a couple of you that I've got on the line here. I know I've argued with you guys on Twitter about this, so it'd be fun to have that argument in person. So let's move on. Thank you, Double B. I really appreciate that. That's awesome. And real quick, I got another one. Hey, Jeremy, thank you very much. I appreciate it. You're always fun to talk to. Anyway, my big Jimmy Garoppolo fan, but also a huge 49er fan, and more than anything else. So. Let's jump on over to the next caller that we've got online. I'm just going to take you guys right in order. Michael, how you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Come on, man. You got to be. Let's go. This is Niner Chatter Tuesday night.
Trey.
Let's go.
Remember the last game? San Diego had no starters in. Or Chargers. They're LA Chargers now. Yeah, they had no starters in. Jimmy played against backups, and how'd he look?
Yeah.
His ball was too high for Brandon Ayuk. It really was. Hit him on the top of the fingers. That's it'd been a miracle if he'd have pulled that down. But as far as Trey Lance goes and his drops, he's had 7 drops. He leads the league in drop passes so far in the 2 preseason games.
Yeah, I would say that Garoppolo interception, that's a bad play on both ends. It's a bad throw by Garoppolo, and it's a ball that, even though it was a bad pass, I think if you asked Aiyuk, he would tell you that he should have caught it. Kyle Shanahan said he should have caught it.
That'd have been a hard catch. I mean, awesome catch if he'd caught it.
Yeah, no, it would have been an awesome catch. It would have been a fantastic catch if he had done it. But it was a ball that he should have caught. You don't call it a drop because it wasn't just like in the normal pattern of the play, but it's a ball that you would expect a guy that
he was wide open. Mm-hmm. Jimmy was under no pressure to throw it.
No, that's a ball you got to put right on there.
Let it go and just hit him right between the numbers, and
Yep.
It's a horrible throw. I know Trey Lance got a rocket. This guy's got to learn to start catching that rocket. I know his one ball was like right here or whatever and got intercepted or whatever. It still should have been caught. It did hit him in the palms of the hands.
Yeah. But you're only go stand 14 yards away from somebody and have them fire the ball at you as hard as Lance does. I know we're not in it. We're not in it.
Right. Ask Larry Fitzgerald if they're supposed to be caught.
Oh yeah, and I think if you ask Mohamed Sanu, he would tell you that he should have caught that.
We've had more drops than Larry Fitzgerald in 2 preseason games than he's had in his career.
Yeah, no, and I think if you ask Mohamed Sanu, he should have caught that. But again, that's a situation. You're only 14 yards away from the guy, and you're throwing that ball so hard. And if it's here, right, like where he threw the ball to Benjamin, that's one thing. But when you're throwing it up here away where you've got to use your hands,
it was a bad pass. But it was still, it hit him right there in the palms.
Oh yeah. But again, it's just,
he catches that all day long.
Yeah, that play right there. If you remember, if you go back to their open practice that they had at Levi Stadium, if you remember that, you probably saw it on Twitter where Lance did the interception in that at the end of the that where he threw the ball over the middle to Mitchell and it bounced off his hands. It's kind of the same thing. Not that far of a distance. The ball is coming out way too hot for the distance that it is. He just needs to. He did a really good job of it when he booted out to his left. And
remember when you were on the Grant show just before this or whatever, you said it, and I agreed with it. He warmed up and started putting more touch on the ball after the first series or so, and he started to do better to that. In other words,
okay.
Yeah. I thought he settled down, and started throwing with more touch. The only one he didn't throw with touch after, say, the first 2, 3, or first couple series was the one he threw for the touchdown to him.
Yeah, and
I thought he was throwing with touch after that.
No, he did. The one to James was the best one. The one over the middle at the end, though, that's like Benjamin. That's different. There's a different. I know that one's over the middle, but that was another 10 yards down the field than the ball to. He's
got better touch deep than he does up close.
Well, you have to throw it with touch to throw it deep. You can't. I mean, you can throw it on the line to a certain extent, but you still have to put air under the ball when you're throwing it deep. So that's part of the reason there. But did you watch Good Morning Football this morning?
No,
I was working.
Go watch what they said about Trey Lance this morning. A big time inside Niner person thinks that Trey Lance is going to be the starter. There's no reason why, if Jimmy G wasn't going to be the starter and they saying he's going to be the starter, why Kyle put doubt in that with his interview, saying he's not going to name a starter.
Yeah, I don't think it. I don't agree with that. They have a quarterback situation going on in New Orleans, and Sean Payton said the same exact thing.
That is quarterback competition there.
No, I understand. There's a quarterback there's a quarterback competition, whether they want to say there's a quarterback competition or not. But when you start to say, as far as who the starting quarterback is, there's no reason for nothing good comes out of Kyle Shanahan saying that it's Jimmy Garoppolo or Trey Lance. There's no benefit to the 49ers for doing it. So why ask it?
I think it's a big benefit in the fact that they can't go with Jimmy G. It's a ticking time bomb. I would bet $1,000,000 to 1 that he will be injured if he plays minimum 6-7 games, and it could cost us $53 million over the next 2 seasons by playing him. Even people in the NFL Network on ESPN and NFL Network show have said they cannot risk him being the starter because they will end up owing him all of next year's salary also. And you say, well, $53 million, what can you do with it? You can get the best corner in the free agency next year. You can get the best wide receiver in free agency next year and the best offensive lineman in free agency next year and sign them all for $53 million.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I understand all of that. But the 49ers, Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be on the 49ers in 2021. He is. Who you think the 49ers? Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch are not dumb enough to go into the season with only Trey Lance and a rookie. And Nate Sudfeld.
Sudfeld did not look bad to me.
Okay. Well, I've seen Sudfeld play. I've seen Sudfeld play against guys that aren't third stringers, and guys are going to be getting cut. And we've seen it. We saw
CJ Beathard for 3 years. I mean, he's a big upgrade over them.
Yeah, they don't go through the whole entire offseason talking about the need to upgrade their quarterback position, only to go ahead but not just the starting quarterback, but also upgrade the backup. They didn't do that with the expectation that they were going to use Nate Sudfeld as their second string quarterback. So
you gave him quite a bit of guaranteed money.
Yeah, it's only $500,000. I think the reason they gave him that $500,000 is because he's going to be on the practice squad. That $500,000 kind of offsets the loss of
you think they
compensation.
Go practice squad? I think somebody would snatch him up before that.
Nah, I don't think so.
He'd have to go on there to where he's one of the 2 protected ones.
I don't think so. I think that he's a guy that they feel they can get over there and not have a problem with getting him onto the practice squad. So I think that's the direction. I mean, we just disagree on that piece.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't think Jimmy G's going to be the starter. I mean, $53 million is a lot to bank on, to put a bet on it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be upset if it's not. I think that Jimmy Garoppolo starts week 1 unless we see Trey Lance come out and blow it out. Now that can change tomorrow when I show up to practice.
Philadelphia, look for my big, huge sign that says Jimmy Garoppolo sucks. And I'm holding it in Philadelphia.
Okay, all right.
Wearing a Niner jersey.
I'll keep an eye.
Jimmy Garoppolo jersey holding that sign. Jimmy sucks.
I'll keep an eye out for it.
If it's big enough, I'll get it on TV. I mean, there's no way. I mean, Jimmy's going to do anything. I mean, if they play him at least a quarter of this game coming up, he's going to throw 2 interceptions and he's going to be booed off the field.
All right,
they'll boo him off this weekend coming up Sunday. I mean, I just don't see him doing any better than that. He can't handle pressure. Ever since he got that ACL, he's just went downhill tremendously. I mean, his record every year or the last, say, 10 games is getting worse and worse and worse record-wise, compared to the way he started, he's not going to make it. He can't handle the pressure.
All right. Yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens on Sunday and where they go from there.
The best thing to do is start Trey Lance and let's get on with the future.
Hey, the best part about this whole quarterback thing is after this game on Sunday, we get 2 more weeks to argue about this before week 1. So we still got 3 more weeks to go.
I'm going out of town. I'm going to a resort hotel in West Virginia to relax for 2 weeks.
That's not an excuse for missing Niner Chatter.
It is an excuse.
No, I'm kidding.
A hot tub and swimming pool and all that. Yeah, it is an excuse. So.
No, I'm kidding with you, Michael.
All right.
All
right.
See
you later. But,
all right.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good night.
You too.
All right. So I guess Michael's going to be missing Niner Chatter. I guess there's more important things in his life, like going to a hot tub and all that. I don't understand that myself. We got to come in here. We got to talk our Niner football, right? But no, I'm kidding. I hope he has a good time out there. I'm going to jump over to Swan Song really quick. He's got to get off the line. I think he must have something important to do himself. I don't understand these guys that want to come on and talk Niners, but then they have these excuses to like other things going on in their life. I don't get it.
I gotta pick up my kid in like 10 minutes.
No.
I'll make this quick.
Hey, I hear that. Go ahead.
I'm waiting for Jeremy at any point in time to do one of those pull the mask back. And it's Jimmy G. I'm waiting for that. And then Mike Miller pulled a mask back and it's Trey Lance. But going back to what Jeremy said real quick about, if you win the crowd, like you made that Gladiator reference. Like, I mean, I get that it fits in that movie, but we've seen, I mean, granted, when they traded Montana, it was easier for them to do that because he was coming off of major surgery, right? So you remember, but you still remember all those signs they had for Joe, like at that time when it was a done deal, and there was no salary cap to even consider back then, so it hurt even more, right?
Oh yeah. I remember going to the games in '93, that first year after they traded him, and the guy that sat right in front of us all season long wore a Joe Montana, something like a Joe Montana jersey to the Joe Montana Chiefs
all the time. Yeah,
it was the Joe Montana Chiefs jersey too.
Yeah, and you even remember that even when Montana, when they faced in '94, when they faced Steve Young at Arrowhead, that a bunch of the fans cheered Montana winning, even though that was our Super Bowl year. That was our hype year. Like everyone, because we were sick of losing to Dallas. And then we lose that game. And then I remember, I mean, I that was a bittersweet thing because I wanted the Niners win that game because I wanted them, that was our hype season, right? This is the one we're going to get over, right? And then we lose that game and it's like, oh, it sucks. But I mean, if we're going to lose, at least we lost to Joe. So that was the only concession about that. But so anyway, you can blow that out of the water, right? And we've seen Ronnie Lott traded, we've seen all that, we've seen it all. So, and Jimmy ain't those guys. I mean, maybe emotionally he is to some of the fans because they haven't seen anything else. So and he's the best looking out of all the Niners that we've had. So that's something. Hey, the world's a lot easier to prettier people, right? To good looking people. But anyway.
Yeah, trust me, I know that.
Yeah. So the thing is, yeah, me too. The thing is, with I've come. I mean, I've kind of knew this right away. I mean, maybe in the last couple of weeks that, the more as this goes on, that Jimmy is probably going to be the starter. I would say 85%. Like there's still maybe a 15% chance for Trey, especially if he goes out and balls out this Sunday or this Saturday, whenever the game is. Mm-hmm. You could tell, like, at least me reading it, like, I mean, of course I want it to see a certain way. Like you could tell Kyle really wanted him to have a consistent game so that he could sell it to the locker room better, sell it to the fans better, sell it to him better, right? You could tell, like, he was backing up Trey even on those balls that, hey, those guys need to catch it, right? Like,
oh yeah.
Normally he would, if he didn't want Trey to win that, he would probably said, yeah, Trey needs to do it better, and the receivers need to do a better job of catching it. But he didn't say that. He said, yeah, they better get used to it, right? So that was interesting. I do think that some of his inaccuracies is like when people hear inaccuracy, they're thinking, well, he can't be accurate always. But what you pointed out and what some others had pointed out and what Coach McAvoy had pointed out is like these inaccuracies happen because he's late, right? Mm-hmm. He's late because of his indecision, and then now he feels rushed, right? Mm-hmm. And then he overcompensates it by, throwing it hard, right? If you see it on the touch passes, he didn't have anything of that to worry about. Like the rollout to Richie James.
Yes.
Like that was the only receiver he was going to. That he wasn't late. He wasn't going to be late. Sherfield he threw that with anticipation, right? Yeah. On that one long pass. I did see a film breakdown on that pass to Sanu, the breakdown pass, and why he double clutched. Because at first, when I saw the double clutch, I was thinking, well, if he's double clutching to Sanu, not throwing it right away, that I'm really concerned. Like, why not just do it as he's open? But I on another breakdown, I saw that why he's clutching is because he's looking for Sherfield. He's looking for Sherfield deep, right? Deeper than Sanu. Like it's like, I don't know what type of pattern it is. I want to say it's an out pattern.
I disagree on that one though, because it looks to me like he's looking at Sanu, and I think what happens, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I think what happens is he hits his back foot and he's ready to throw the ball now, right? He's there. He's ready to go. And I think there's times when he gets ready, he gets back, and he knows it's going to be there, and so he starts to throw just a tick early. Like his timing's just off, just a touch, which is causing him just to do this once, right? Because he's looking at Sanu, and I think he knows he's going to get Sanu quick, but he's like, oh shoot, like it
doesn't feel right. Like it doesn't feel right.
Like no, not that it doesn't feel right, but he gets there and he realizes that Sanu's not quite out of his break yet. Like he's starting to throw it a little early, and so then he pulls it up.
Fairfield pass in the first week, right? Like it seemed like when he was on that curl route, like he's like, should I throw it right now? No, maybe I could find a better time to throw it, and then that pause is enough hesitation for.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Now thinking back to that play, I could see that being an example of it for sure. For sure, the one to Richie James in the second quarter, when he threw that, when he was looking left and he comes back to James coming across the middle and he throws it high on him. Remember, that's the same. That was almost exactly the same. That was almost exactly the same thing, where he's looking left, kind of trying to draw the guy over that way, and then he comes back to the other side. And when he comes back to the other side, he pulls it and they puts his hands back together, and then he throws it. And when he goes to throw it, he's late, and so he's got to overthrow it now. And that's why the ball sails high on him. The ball comes out so fast.
Yeah, so maybe the thing is just with him is like, hey, let's do some things. I hope Kyle does some things to kind of get him in the rhythm. Like just gimmies, like right off the bat. They do it for every quarterback, it seems. You know what I mean? Like around the league. Like you always hear it, like, let him get into rhythm, let him get a feel, and then so calm him down a little bit. You know what I mean? Chill him out a little bit. But I think it's all this stuff is him adjusting to the game, and I'll finish off with this last thing is what Jeremy had said about the scenarios that might happen. So Jimmy most likely is going to be the starter, but I could see at any point if he's ineffective, and it doesn't even have to be an interception. It doesn't have to be a turnover. If he's just ineffective, right? Like some 3 and outs or like drives that are ending with 3 points or whatever. It doesn't look great, and then Trey is going to get his situational plays, right? Like regardless if Jimmy starts or not. Like we've already heard Shanahan said Trey's going to come in situations, right?
Right.
If Trey makes the most of those opportunities, I could totally see Shanahan go, we're sticking with Trey because he's the hot hand. Like right now, he can just easily say that, and we might never see Jimmy after that. If I was talking with Jeremy the other day on Discord because he was trying to he was trying to put scenarios to me, how to kind of gauge where I was at. He's like, if Jimmy wins game 1 and game 2 and balls out, and then loses to game, kind of what he just said in the chat, loses in game 3. I go, well, if he's 2-0 and he loses game 3 and he looks really bad, then that's gonna have people want to say, let's try and trade. But I don't think he'll get the yank right away. It'll be the same situation. Like the game 4, they'll be like, okay, how's Jimmy doing? He'll have a shorter leash. The more Jimmy wins, the longer the leash. You get what I'm saying? The more success he has, the longer the leash. And it's going to be an interesting dynamic how it plays out. I mean, this will be the first time. Well, the thing, I've never seen this succeed. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I mean, I'm optimistic at this point, but it's got to be hard for both quarterbacks to play in something like that. And kind of like what you kind of said earlier was like, you can't, if they put in Trey, you can't just yank them.
Right. Yeah. I don't think the dual quarterback system has really ever worked in the NFL where you have 2 quarterbacks who are playing all the time in the games. I don't know. I know there's been times where like the Steelers where they had, when they had, what was it, Slash? Cordell Stewart, and they call him Slash, but even then Stewart wasn't really playing quarterback. He was more of a receiver. I don't, as far as having that 2 guys where they're going in and out, like probably what would be happening with Garoppolo and Lance. I don't see that being something that can go on throughout a 17-game season and have the team be successful at the end of the year.
I don't see it either. So, so anyways, well, thanks for taking me. Thanks, guys, for letting me cut in line. And I got to go pick up my kid right now, but I'll continue to watch the show on YouTube.
All right, sounds good.
All right.
Swan, have a great night.
Okay, you too. Thanks, Jack.
Bye-bye. All right. No, that was a great call by Swan. Brought some good points, and I agree with them from the standpoint that this is on Garoppolo. If Garoppolo's the guy that starts at the beginning of the year, if he goes out there and he balls out and he plays to the best of his ability and he's putting up big numbers or just playing at a high level, he's gonna be the quarterback until otherwise. If he's out there, even if he's showing to be ineffective and the team is still winning, that could also be a negative for him. So Garoppolo's got to play at a high level in order to hold on to this job, and Lance has to jump up and take it. Before I get on to Ryan, I had another donation. Thank you so much, Double B. This is the second one today. I really appreciate these. And I had that one earlier from Jeremy as well. What's your prediction for the first 5 games? With the defense we have, I think we can win with either quarterback. And for the most part, I agree with this. You look at the schedule. You've got the Lions. I think the 49ers are going to win that. And then they go to Philly, and I think they're going to win that game as well. I think of those 2 games, the Lions game is probably a little more would be the one that's going to be a little more tricky. Those first games of the year tend to be that way. The Lions have some decent players on that roster, some decent depth up front on both sides of the ball. So that one can be a little bit of a tricky game that week 1 against Detroit. But I think the Niners can win those. And then they come back and they have their season opener on that Sunday night against Green Bay. And if the 49ers defense is healthy, they're going to go ahead and they're going to stop Aaron Rodgers, and the offense is going to do their thing if the quarterbacks are healthy. I think the 49ers will win that one too. I really think they're going to be 5-0 at the bye. I think they have the ability to beat the Seattle at home. Seattle at home is always one of those games where Seattle, for whatever reason, even when the 49ers have been bad, that home game against Seattle has been close. So those are our 4 wins there. And then the 5th one right before the bye, that's the tricky one at Arizona. At Arizona always seems to be one of those games that the 49ers struggle with for whatever reason. I know they went down there and beat Arizona last year with C.J. Beathard at quarterback. That's one that I could see going either way. I think on my original prediction, I might have had that been lost for the 49ers. But the more I look at that one, I don't really like the Cardinals. I think their offense is way overhyped. I don't think Kyler Murray is anywhere near the quarterback that so many people make him out to be. I just think he's too small. And I know he runs around and makes some really exciting plays, but beyond that, let's go 5-0. 49ers heading into the bye, leading into Indianapolis, the home game on that Sunday night. And then last one, oh yeah, this is funny. From Swan, he donates $5 to say Trey Area, just because Korean 49ers hates it, and I'm not the biggest. I'm not going to say a whole lot about Greg Papa other than the fact that I'm not a big fan of his. So, yeah, enough of that. Let's go back to you guys because you guys are the stars of the show. You guys don't want to hear me talk too much. We got crypto. We got Ryan here. We got Maruna, OG 49er, and then Pioneer in line. So that'll probably be about it. Trying to wrap this up around 6:00 tonight so I can catch a few minutes of my kid's football practice before he's done. So what's up, Ryan?
Whoa. You got excuses about you needed to get off the stream early? What's this?
I'm not starting. I'm not ending no stream early. I said I'm going to get through all my callers before we end it.
I'm just giving you trash because you were giving everybody else trash.
No, I hear you.
Hey, shout out to Double B for padding them pockets, man. Bro,
Yeah,
that's $220. Man,
that's much appreciated.
You need to give him a special, you need to give him a wrench or something.
There you go. What's going on?
Oh, go ahead.
In there. I'm hanging in there. I wasn't sure if you wanted to start screaming at me about Jimmy Garoppolo's contract or.
No, man.
No, I'm playing with you.
Like I told you, that wasn't yelling. You know what I mean?
No,
I was just putting some emphasis on. I was putting some stank on it, not yelling. I kind of wanted to touch on what Jeremy Price said about. Well, first thing, I want to give Jeremy Price his credit. He is what I would say for Jimmy Maxey. That's a crypto term for somebody who only likes one cryptocurrency. for Jimmy Maxey, because I don't want to call him a stan. That's just kind of a little disrespectful. You know what I mean? So for Crypto Maxey, I think, he's pretty level-headed about things. He knows where it's going. He's not, he just wants to see his boy ball out. I get that. And I'll tell you, Swan Song, Josh Mangle and I can't remember who else were there. We were watching that game when Jimmy ran, and we all were like, "Oh my God!" we erupted. So yes, that was a very good run. Whoever friend he said was weak, he's tripping, because for Jimmy that was amazing, and we didn't expect it. But I don't like the point that he made about, or not point, but what he said about having Jimmy start the first 2 games, which are probably the biggest gimme games we have this season, when you could be using that time to get Lance comfortable and in the zone, instead of Jimmy getting first 2 games and then, we've got Green Bay Packers, and now you have to outduel Aaron Rodgers.
Sure.
I just think that's not put him in a situation to do well, confidence wise, all that, baby steps if you're going to put him in there,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think that I hear that point. I understand that. One of the things, if you decide that if Shanahan decides that he's going to go with Lance, one of the benefits of starting him week 1 is that he's going to have 2 full weeks of practice leading up to that game. That's one of the benefits because of the way that the preseason is this year. So if he makes that decision after week 3 of the preseason, you know what, Lance is my guy, then he's got 2 weeks to prepare for it. He's got, like I said already, I think that first game is going to be a little tougher than we expect, but that Philadelphia game and then the first real test is still 4 weeks away, right? I mean, that's how long it is between that Raider game and that one. So
I also wanted to touch on the drop passes part. So I don't think it's necessarily any person's fault, but I think both. It's 50-50. The receivers need to learn how to catch those heaters, because there are going to be times where he is going to be late to his reads, and they're going to need to figure out how to catch it. And also at the same time, Lance needs to get better on seeing those early so he can throw touch on it. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's 50-50, but they've got to be able to figure out how to catch those balls, because there's going to be go ahead.
It goes both ways. You're 100% right. Kyle Shanahan said that too, right? He's got to get better at not firing that ball in there so hard, but the receiver's got to catch it too. It's a little bit of both for sure.
Now, another thing I wanted to think about. You said they won't go into the season without Jimmy, and just have Trey and Nate Sudfeld as backups.
Yeah,
but the Buffalo Bills have got 4 quarterbacks on their roster, and I'm pretty sure they're not bringing all of them into the regular season. So one of them's going to have to hit waivers. Oh, did you hear me?
You said something about the Bills having the quarterbacks, and somebody's going to hit waivers.
And those guys all got wheels. You know what I mean? And they look like they were working well. So I don't understand why we don't just, either use our leverage, like let's say Kyle decides Jimmy's not starting. So then you put the leverage on him saying, hey, we can cut you, or we can restructure your deal. If you don't want to restructure your deal, we're cutting you. And then you go pick up, I'd probably do it today or whenever they make that final cut. I'd go pick up that guy and have him sitting in the wings and let Jimmy know, hey, this is your replacement, bro.
I mean, if there's somebody that they can find that's like that, then sure. I just don't follow that. Given everything that they've been through, that's the direction that they want to take, bringing in a quarterback from another team right before the season and that kind of stuff. That's the only thing
you could always bring back Rosen too. It's not like anybody's jumping up and down to try and claim him.
Yeah, well, he was actually claimed already. He's signed by he was signed by the Atlanta Falcons today.
Okay. Never mind.
They had a quarterback, I think, that went on IR and then they brought him in.
So I'm guessing you're pretty into the waiver wires. Who do you think the Niners should try and steal from other teams that went on waivers? Do you have any?
I don't have any right now because I haven't really seen that. But I just saw that one because it was Josh Rosen and somebody that I follow.
I know the Seahawks Seahawks cut somebody. The cornerback.
They did. They cut Pierre Desir. That's who they released.
Is he any good?
He's okay. He's a veteran. He's a veteran.
Is he any better than our backups? Like I don't like Webb. I think Webb is.
The 49ers cut Webb today, so he's gone.
Oh, okay, good. No, we don't have to talk about that.
Yeah. Well, Webb was really the only thing he was replacing K'Wan Williams in the slot. So.
And last thing, you said earlier that there's no reason to officially name a starter yet, but I think that's actually wrong. If you're going to start Trey, or you feel like you're going to start Trey, I'd be screaming to the rafters that Jimmy's starting, baby. So everybody can sit there and go, oh, good, it's only Jimmy. And then, week one, bang, now you got read option to deal with. Now you got this to deal with. Now you gotta respect the clear out route because, all this stuff can happen.
Sure. No, that makes sense. I think they just leave it open and you make the decision at the end, or he might already have his decision made, and he's told us, even in the comment the other day where he said that he's not going to give you the answer. His first part there was a response earlier on there where he said that my belief in who the starting is that I haven't changed. My thought on Garoppolo being the starting quarterback hasn't changed. He said that at first, and then he got pressed on it. That's when he said, well, I'm not giving you an answer. So, and
that doesn't mean that he ever thought Jimmy was going to be the starter deep down in his heart of hearts. You know what I mean? Oh. That could just mean that, because what did he say in the draft? I want a starter.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Why do you go out and get somebody and them not be a starter essentially? And, piling on, what Steve Young said, like if they're close to the same talent, start the kid, because we've seen what Jimmy can do in his 8 years in the league. What's one more year going to do?
Correct. I understand. I'm with you. I'm with Steve Young on that one. So I'm not going to complain about that. I just think that the 49ers are better off having Jimmy Garoppolo as their backup quarterback than bringing somebody else in at this point in the game.
Oh, I got one more. Have you thought about becoming a quarterback coach for the 49ers?
You're funny.
I'm sure you do a little bit more than Scangarelli. Jimmy likes him because he doesn't make things too complicated for him.
Well, yeah, he's done an okay job. He's the one that got Garoppolo up to speed when he first came in there, and more than anything, I think the problem that the 49ers have is with Garoppolo is that he's been hurt too much to continue his development, and it's showing. And that's why I think all that missed time sitting on the bench has hurt him. So.
I don't know. He came out, after a full season of going to the Super Bowl and went, what was it again? Was it 3-3, 3-2? What was the
3-3?
The total 3-3.
Yeah, he was 3-3. Yep.
After being healthy and whole year played.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, he had a horrible game against the Arizona, excuse me.
Yeah, and that's another reason why I'm like, why should we really start him if we got 5-0 run? Like maybe we should let the kid do the startup because he's not very good. He's 1-2 on his first starts, I believe.
Yeah, I believe you're right. No, he's 2. He won one when he was with the 49ers. He's 1-2. He's 2-2 overall.
Yes. But we're talking about a different system though. Okay.
Yep.
Well, I'm out of here.
All right.
Day. Shout out to Double B for padding them that pockets, man.
Yeah, and Jeremy too. He got a $5 donation right here because he liked your take. He said he wanted to say that he respects that take, Crypto. So I
appreciate you too, sir.
All right. Well, you have a good night.
You too,
Thanks
sir.
for calling in. All right.
Yep.
Bye-bye. All right. Let's jump on to the next one. And real quick over here in the comment section, there was Dread Riser makes a good point. The receivers are used to Jimmy throwing at 45 miles an hour, and then you got Trey throwing it in there at 80. So that does play into it as well, for sure. And now this guy's a troublemaker right here. I don't know if I can trust him, but we'll see. He was busy working last week when we did the show, so fortunately here we got him we got him out of work, so he can join us tonight. How you doing, Waruna?
Yeah, I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. I'm good.
So there's one thing that I really don't want to see, that the quarterback situation, let's say Trey Lance, Jimmy starts week one, then Trey Lance going to start somewhere down the line. If that decision happens, something based on on-field performance of Jimmy, I don't want to see that, because even during that preseason game, I was like, I don't want to Jimmy be taken out throwing interceptions and whatnot, because end of the day, I like Trey Lance. There is a fan base for Jimmy, but it doesn't add any value for 49ers as a team, as an organization, because if Jimmy fails on the field, his trade value goes down. And because end of the day, the other team is not going to say, okay, guys, the Trey Lance fans wins, Jimmy fan. It's not going to happen like that. If Jimmy throws interception, that's what eventually might cost the game. So I really wish if Jimmy starts, if he will play really good. That's, even though I like Trey Lance, I want it to happen. The second thing is the narrative. I saw during last 2-3 days now. Initially, Skip Bayless said about, okay, Kyle, start Trey Lance. Now Steve Young is saying, okay, start Trey Lance. The national media coming around, right? Now, where nobody is saying, are you smarter than Kyle Shanahan? Or are you a Jimmy hater? Nobody is saying that. But the local media, for example, now even when I say things, I get things called by, okay, you're a Grant's boy, you're a Grant fan, and you all started this Jimmy hate and whatnot. But we were saying facts. We were just presenting the facts. What I felt like, you are pointing at the moon. Showing somebody, hey, look, this is the moon. And they are not looking at the moon, they are looking at your finger. Hey, your finger is dirty. Why don't you cut your nails? So that's one thing I really would like to ask from all the fans. Just consider that. I might not have the same fame as Steve Young. You might not have the same fame as Steve Young or Skip Bayless. It's fine. But if we bring up some point, and if you feel like it's logical, then give it some thought, give it some respect. Don't just start blaming just Varuna said so, Jack said so, Grant said so. So it was kind of funny. I was just looking at this Twitter and I saw some people who were bashing the argument, bashing Trey. Even some went into then saying, okay, Trey Lance is not good and whatnot. But they were, when Steve Young said these things, and finally they were like, okay, oh yeah, that makes sense. Yes, that's true.
Right? Yeah. As long as Steve Young says it, then everybody's going to listen to it, right?
Yes. So only thing is, if someone else also makes a logical argument, maybe just give a thought on that. So maybe there's something to it. So that's the second thing. And the final thing, before I let you go, I really wonder whether 49ers really assessed the situation end to end when they decided to trade for Trey Lance. Because the reason is, now John Lynch is saying that Jimmy asked, okay, can I compete for the job? Yes, you can compete for the job. But what if at that situation you have to think, okay, what if Jimmy loses the competition? Then are we going to keep him as a backup, paying $27 million for the entire year? Or are we going to look someone else? Trubisky was available and there were other guys were available. You could have get someone cheap. But maybe, I don't know, maybe they had something else on the plan. Maybe they had some, in their mind, they had a guy separate, different guy, not Trey Lance. But I think for some situation, you can say we got Trey Lance, so situation is fine, but they did not do 100% perfect job. They screwed up it a little bit. So that's why you are seeing it now, because even now, right now, they are also confused. Okay, what are we going to do?
Yeah, I mean, if the pick all along had been Trey Lance, like we've heard, why didn't they why didn't they move on from Jimmy Garoppolo for a guy like Mitchell Trubisky, right? I mean, Mitchell Trubisky for $2 million for as the starting quarterback right now, are competing with Trey Lance, however you want to say that. That would have been a great deal, I think, for the 49ers, because then you have two guys that are able to do the same things, and I think that Trey Lance is way underrated. Not Trey Lance, excuse me, Mitchell Trubisky. I think Mitchell Trubisky is Jimmy Garoppolo for $2 million, really, except for he's a little bit more mobile. But from a quarterbacking perspective, their numbers are very similar to each other, and he's been playing with probably worse targets and everything.
Yes.
So I personally, that's the direction I would have taken. I liked Mac Jones. Everybody knows I was a Mac Jones head when it came to the draft, and if that was the direction that they were going to go in, then keeping Garoppolo makes sense, because then you've got two quarterbacks that play one style on their roster right now, and then you've got Trey Lance who can do all these other things. So that's partly why you've got Lance having to run. He's getting extra reps at times over over Garoppolo, and whoever the third quarterback was, probably Rosen back in the early parts of training camp. So yeah,
that's the thing. Let's see what's going to happen. Thank you very much for taking my call.
Yeah, and I don't know if you saw there, but your buddy Jeremy, he said, "We're ready, Varuna. He's ready for you." I like that back and forth between you guys over there.
Yes. I enjoyed it a lot.
So thank you again, Jeremy.
Means well.
The good part about Jeremy is he's going to come on and he's going to tell you about Jimmy Garoppolo, because he likes Jimmy Garoppolo. But at the end of the day, he doesn't care if it's Trey Lance, as long as the 49ers are winning. So that's the one part. That's why I let Jeremy do his thing, because I know that he's got the 49ers, as the team that he wants to win. He doesn't care about the quarterback necessarily. So.
Yes, exactly. Yep. Okay, have a good night.
All right. You too, Aruna. Have a good one. All right, we're getting it down here to the end, and we got another one here. How you doing, OG?
I'm doing all right, man. This is my first time on your show. Just want to say I'm honored to be on your show.
Thank you. Good to have you.
I'm out of Fresno, California. Been a 49er fan since '84.
Okay, nice.
Okay, so let's talk defense, because I know you're tired of the Jimmy G, Trey Lance thing, so I'm not going to bore you with that. But I got a couple of theories. I want to see if you agree with this. Do you think the D-line is going to have to provide cover for the secondary? What I mean by that is by getting home.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Can you turn it down just a little bit, because I can hear myself?
How about now?
Let me see. It's still there, but not quite as much. To answer your question, yes, the 49ers defensive line is going to have to create the help for the secondary. We saw that on Sunday, and that'll be there during the regular season as well.
And another theory I have is, and no one, I don't know, I see it. Maybe I'm overreacting, but here's my theory. Do you think the thing to keep an eye on, even during the regular season, is the height of the DBs? What I mean by that is, when the Niner DBs go up against the Metcalf, the AJ Green, the DeAndre Hopkins, is the height going to be the one to keep an eye on?
It's going to be a struggle, because those guys are all big. But every defense struggles against those guys because of those things.
And about Thomas, I want to say we all know that he's not doing well. So what I did is I recorded the game because I had to do something. But and I played it back slowly, and I want to see if you saw the same thing, Jack. One, he's in a trail position. We all know that. So I wanted to know why. I don't know if you noticed. Do you notice that he shuffles his feet?
I haven't noticed that.
That's because I played. I don't know if you watched me on Grant, but that's one of the techniques that was taught to me, and I coach my sons, is footwork, the technique on the footwork. I had a hard time breaking my son out of that habit about shuffling his feet. The only thing I could think of why Thomas does that is he's overthinking, or he's just not confident that he doesn't know if he can shut this guy down or not. I mean, what do you think?
That could be part of it. It could be a little bit of a lack of confidence, stepping up from college to the NFL. It could be something that, maybe he's kind of having to work through that.
I mean, one of the things I noticed too, his hip is in the right place. but for some reason he's not bringing his feet with it. If you notice that, I mean, I know you're gonna go. I think you're gonna go to the practices, right, or something like that.
Yeah, I'll be there tomorrow.
I don't know if you probably remember, but something to keep an eye on. See how he worked with his feet, because what I saw, I picked up on it right away. Is he shuffles his feet, and that's where I'm thinking he's overthinking it.
Okay, you're saying that is that at the line of scrimmage that he's shuffling his feet? Okay.
Yes. Yes, instead of like the way Jason Verrett off the hook footwork. It's just hands down great. So, but I don't see the same thing from Thomas. I mean, I think Thomas has potential. Don't get me wrong, but I think he's either nerves or he's overthinking. That's why I wanted to talk to you about. So I wanted to get your opinion on it. Yeah,
no, that could be a part of it because it's a new situation for him, so it could be taking a little bit of time to get used to it. It's something I'll take a look at for you though, and I'll try to get some video of him too.
Right, definitely. That's what I see. Not like I said on Twitter because they post the videos about it, and that's one of the things that I see. What like I said, I coach the DBs. I even coach my sons. That's one of the things I talked about was the footwork. Anybody can have athleticism and talent. That's fine, but the technique and the footwork, that's going to be very important.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's all about footwork. Football at all levels, at every position is about your feet, footwork. So
and if Thomas don't get that straightened out, you probably remember him, Jack. We cannot have another Antonio Lingam. We cannot have that.
Yeah, and Antonio Lingam or
I mean, Antonio Lingam was so bad. Even ESPN was calling them Antonio. Where did my man go, Lingam? I mean, that's how bad it was.
yeah. There's that, and then there's also the other. Who was it? I can't remember. Who was the guy that got eaten up against the Giants in that one playoff game?
I know you're talking about it. It's not clicking right now. But I know what you're talking about.
He was from Ohio State, yeah. But yeah, that was a rough one for him.
But yeah, I wanted to cut a short right there because I just want to get on your show and talk to you about that. But I know you got to pick up your kids, so I just want to cut it short for you.
Okay, no, I appreciate it. I'll keep an eye out the next couple of days for that footwork from Thomas. For you.
Definitely, thank you, Jack.
All right, thank you so much for calling. I appreciate it.
No problem.
All right, let's move this on. We got 3 more callers in line, and we got Pinor up next. The big red dot.
Yo, what up, man?
Here to spit at us a little bit, spit some facts. They say I think is the terminology these days.
Yeah. Back in the early 2000s, they might have said that.
Oh,
but
see, that's how,
I was like, I'm not that young either, man. I really can't know what the terminology is.
You see how hip I am? I'm like, I'm right there. Like, I'm at the cutting edge.
Nice. But I actually wanted to get back to the serious conversation of Jimmy and Trey. Now, I know that it might bore you guys, but I mean, it only bores you guys if people don't really have a good opinion on it, in my opinion. So that's how I feel about that, as far as if it's boring or not. But one thing I will say though is that I noticed that there's a thing that these I guess, well, we can go back to the gymatitis, patients and whatnot, but they say that, as long as we win, that's why I'm okay with it. Whoever starts, it's like, yeah, it's easy to say that, okay, because Jimmy plays and we do win, but that was in 2019. Now, if Jimmy played like he did week 1 in last year's game, are we really still winning? And not only that, but for him being in his 8th year in the NFL, how are you still having these mistakes? It's like I don't get how people can accept that this could be your 8th year and you're not looking impressive. You're not looking at least more impressive. These are your prime years here, and you look worse than 2017 or even 19. But the point that I'm trying to make here is that, when people say that they want the Niners to win either way, like, of course we all do. That's why we're fans of the Niners here. But there's a difference between winning with Jimmy and let's just say even losing with Trey, right? Mm-hmm. And a person that bring up a very good point to this was actually Chris Sims. Chris Sims was talking on his podcast, and the way he said it was that you could picture the team winning with Jimmy, and it will be a 13-4 team, right? But he said but I can see them going 11-6 with Trey and them still being a way more dangerous team in the playoffs. You get my drift? You might win a few more games with Jimmy, and that is fine when it comes to the regular season. But in the playoffs, we can't have that again, him throwing only 8 times.
Sure.
And here's the thing about that, because people always want to say it's about the winning. We get that. But what is more important, people? Winning in a regular season in 2021, more games for your record? Or is it developing this quarterback that you traded all this capital for and that you potentially can have an MVP caliber starter eventually at the end of his rookie contract? What is more important here, people? There has to be a time where you're going to rip off this Band-Aid anyways. You want to rip this Band-Aid off next year? All right, well, if you want the process to be that slow, I mean, go for it. Why not rip the Band-Aid off now? Get it going now, and especially now that there's all these 1-year contracts that are going on here. And not only is there 1-year contracts going on here, but you have a good thing going that Detroit is starting this season for the week 1 game. You have Detroit, you have the Eagles. I think we could beat those teams. The Eagles will be a little more competitive, but we could still get it done. Who's week 3? Is it Green Bay, right?
Yes.
So if it's Green Bay, we obviously know what's going to happen there. They have one of the better secondaries in all the NFL here. They really do. We can name the names: Jair, King, Savage, and all them. Amos. Now, here's the thing. We could run against the Green Bay Packers, and we could win again, more than likely. But when you start to see the Seahawks, Cardinals, and Colts, that's when you're going to see the biggest problems. And I want you guys to remember me saying this, because when those 3 games happen, in my opinion, it's going to take 2 to 3 bad games for Jimmy to get kicked out. And the funny thing about him during those 3 weeks is that there's pretty much a trade deadline during that time frame. And not only is there a trade deadline, I wouldn't be shocked to see the Colts and Buckner having a fun time with Jimmy. So let's think after the Colts game. You have week 8, the Bears. And I said this before, that this was my prediction, that it's going to be Lance versus Fields. I want you guys to all remember this when it happens. Okay? You think that Kyle is going to keep Jimmy on this team after those 3 games? Because realize that Jimmy's going to be tested very heavily during those games. Now, I'm not saying that we can't beat the Colts or anything like that, because winning is winning at the end of the day. But it depends on how Jimmy is doing throughout these entire games. Because it's not Trey's fault why he's not necessarily taking the job. It's Jimmy's in a way. We could say back and forth on who's the reason behind who's starting. Actually, you know what? It is Trey's fault, because Kyle is waiting for Trey to take it from Jimmy. He's waiting for Trey to take it from Jimmy. That way, if he was to start Trey week 1, he don't have to get the blame for it. Realize that Kyle is a character that does not like to be wrong on anything. That's just who he is from what we've seen from him. No matter how much, he's been in the wrong, he still does not like to take ownership of any bad thing happening. When it comes to drafting Joe Williams, when it comes to you losing against the Falcons for some weird reason, there's a lot of weird things that go on with Kyle that I can't really explain. Uh-huh. But one thing that we can say is, if you guys want to take the blue pill and ride with Jimmy, go for it. Go ahead and be a comfortable person with your Jimmy Garoppolo. Fold up in a bed, be comfortable, and that's what you guys want. Or let's take the red pill and rip this Band-Aid off and get the process started. The real process. The long term here. Why do you guys really want to lose? Imagine if Trey was starting again for the Bengals. It would be a way more rougher train to ride than to be this one.
I think this train here, with the 49ers is more like he's walking into I've said this before. The guy that I comp him to is Ben Roethlisberger. I think there's a lot of similarities between the two in terms of their size, their mobility, some of those kind of things. But also, I think Roethlisberger was a guy who he didn't start week 1. He didn't start until week 3. And But when he got in there, he took off, and it was a situation like what you talked about. They didn't win the Super Bowl that year. They had a really good team though, and they got to the AFC Championship game, lost there to New England, but the next year they were in the Super Bowl and they won it. And I think that's kind of what you could expect or would want to see out of Trey Lance, because this is a team that is built for the long haul. They have a very good core of players, and I think if he starts 13 games this season and goes 13-0 or 12 and 11-2 or whatever, I think you're extremely ecstatic about that, and I think that's manageable with the running game that this team has. We haven't even seen the starting offensive line together yet. We've only seen 3/5 of it. So once you get Alex Mack and Trent Williams out there, I think that part of it's going to become easier. Once you
definitely,
you haven't seen George Kittle on the field at all. So there's a lot of things that are going on there that I think that you could easily make the case that go ahead and go with Trey. You're going to have some bumps in the road, but you're going to have less bumps over the long period by letting him run now than you would with making him sit and wait, because I don't think he needs to sit and wait. I mean, I understand I understand the problems that he has, but I think he's going to work through those quickly. We've seen it already, his ability to adjust very quickly, and I think that would happen if he becomes a starter.
And there's one more thing I wanted to say about Trey Lance and the whole Jimmy battle. It's not really a battle, honestly. It's just timing is all. People just give it time, and you'll see Trey in there. Yep. The thing I wanted to say is that when it comes to bagging on Trey's issues and because he's not perfect, and in my opinion, in the preseason game, he should have had 3 picks, plain and simple. Now, one thing that I'm starting to notice is that now that Trey has had playing time and it's not the offseason anymore, we can evaluate him. But the problem that I'm starting to see around not just Twitter, but everywhere, even when you're out and talking to your family about this, a lot of people are starting to have problems with people pointing out the problems that Trey Lance has. And I think that that's very unfair for people to be very protective of Trey Lance. Now, the same reason why we bag on Jimmy being mediocre, we have to treat everybody with that same standard.
Yep.
You can't allow Trey to regress, and you can't be comfortable with him making these mistakes, everybody. Because here's the thing at the end of the day. We didn't draft this guy, number 3, okay, the 3rd overall pick here, to be something of a mediocre quarterback just like Jimmy. We expect nothing less than the cream of the crop when it comes to him in his prime. And in his prime, we don't know what he's going to be just yet. But still, you guys can't be comfortable with seeing these mistakes and not saying anything about it. You guys have to point it out. Stop lying to yourself. Stop lying to other people. And if we all talk about it, it's a good thing that we know his problems. Yep. It's good to know about your quarterback over the course of a period of time, because you can evaluate and see how he's growing. Is that really bad, guys, to see how someone's growing? Why are you guys being so sensitive if we're starting to talk about his inefficiencies here? It's different with Jimmy, because Jimmy, this is his 8th year and he's still an idiot, okay? With Trey, this is his 1st year, and you should expect this year to be his worst, everyone. This should be his worst year you should ever see him in. If you see any regression through next year and the 3rd year, then you can start bagging him the way you're trying to do right now, in a way. If you guys want to bag him, that's different because you like Jimmy and all these other things. But honestly, we need him to be held to a standard, everyone. Please be honest with yourself. Please be honest with others. Don't get mad when someone points out the obvious when he did something wrong. Let's all agree that he needs to improve, and we need our quarterback to be better for the long haul. That's all it's about, everyone. It's not about that we hate Trey if you see anyone pointing out any mistakes he's making. We want him to be successful here. That's why we're pointing things out. No quarterback comes into the NFL ready week 1. Everyone has to learn. Look at Peyton Manning's whole career, compare it to his 1st year. It's really an amazement on how much he improved. And you guys should expect the same thing. And yeah, just thank you, Jack, for the show. Every caller, thank you, besides who. And yeah, just and Jeremy, I actually love you since it's opposite day. Yeah, you guys all have a good one, okay? And don't forget your Taco Tuesday.
There you go. That's right. That's what I'm doing tonight. Taco Tuesday.
Let's go.
Thanks for the call, Piner. And I exactly real quick before you hang up. I agree with you 100% because that what you just said as far as being critical of Trey Lance and holding him to the same standard I think you need to hold him to the same standard you're going to hold Jimmy Garoppolo to. You've got to hold all these guys. If you're gonna say that Garoppolo should hit this pass, but you're going to give Lance a pass on it because he's a rookie, you're doing this wrong. I had this argument on Twitter, after the first game, after that Chiefs game with some folks.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to look at these guys and you've got to use the same metrics for all of them because I can guarantee you that's what Kyle Shanahan's doing. That's what all their coaches are doing. And if you don't, you're doing them a disservice, and you're doing, like, for myself, if I'm doing that, I'm doing a disservice to the people that I'm writing for or breaking down film for or what have you. And it's not like that there's anybody that's on here like myself or anybody that's doing film breakdowns or what have you, or even the fans, that's going to be tougher on Trey Lance than Kyle Shanahan's on with Trey Lance when they're sitting in that meeting room watching film. Trust me, I can guarantee you. And so it's you're not a hater because you're pointing out a mistake.
Not at all. I hate everything then if you guys think that.
Yeah. So no, I agree 100% with that. I really like that last part of your call there that you said. And I think that's something that everybody needs to hear because it's 100% true. And, as we go through and you guys watch my film breakdowns, when I actually get the all 22 on a regular basis, I can guarantee you that I'm not going to hold them to any different standard than I would hold any other quarterback that's behind center for the 49ers. I did it last year with everybody that was there, and I'll do the same thing this year too. So
that's great. No agendas, just honesty and facts. That you guys and your feelings for someone should not be present. It's that simple. But thank you, Jack, for everything.
All right. Yep. All right. Thank you. Have a great night.
Yep. You too.
All right. So there we go. That's our show. It's 6:10. So we just went over by about 10 minutes, but that's okay. We had some really good callers and let you guys talk for quite a while. There was a couple of you that were on that dropped off, and I apologize for that. I wish you could call back, but there was a Don and a Matt, but we'll make sure that if I see you guys next week, we'll get you on. But again, really appreciate everybody coming on and the donations that we had today, all of the talk that's going on in the chat on the side is fantastic. Just love having you guys on. We'll be back next week. Most likely going to be on Tuesday, probably going to be a little bit earlier in the day, but we'll definitely be doing this on a regular basis. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please do so. Smash that like button if you can, and then also make sure you hit the little bell so that you know every time that we're going live. So again, thank you to everybody that joined. And I'll be back with you on Thursday for the Hammer and Nail show on Thursday at 6:30. And there might even be some things in between then. I will be at practice tomorrow and on Thursday. So make sure you keep an eye out for my full practice reports then. And unfortunately, they won't let us watch all of practice on Friday. The team periods are going to kick us out. So you'll get full reports till the next 2 days. So have a great night, everybody. And we'll be back at you soon. Thank you.